and welcome back to the Hull City Fan Central YouTube channel, where today I've got something a little bit different as we're waiting for Hull City to announce the signing of Matt Crooks as they do delve into some more talks with players. There is no real fresh bit of news for today other than Hull City are interested in an Aston Villa youngster, but I thought that can wait for tomorrow as we'll probably get a bit more information on some more Hull City news, and maybe we could even have a Hull City announcement by then. So today I thought I would do something a little bit different. I thought I'd do a tier list where I'd predict how well I think that each Hull City player will do in the second half of the season. So we have passed the halfway point now in the season. We are playing the return leg of fixtures. So I've gone through the entire Hull City squad that is listed on the website. So obviously, if there is any signings, they will not be on here, and also if there's any departures, they may still be on here. Of course, there is no Marvin Malem, who's out on loan, and no Will Jarvis. But if any of these two players on here do leave in the coming weeks, I'll have predicted them wrong, won't I? So let's crack straight into it. So we'll first of all start off with going through the tiers, as you always do. So at the bottom, I've got injured. Those are players that are basically not going to play because they're already injured, because we have a few players that are out on season-long injuries. Or in Oscar Zambrano's case, which we'll put him straight in there right now, he probably won't play. Hull City do still have him on that loaned agreement. It's a very touch-and-miss situation at the moment with Oscar Zambrano and his... and what he's missing out on time and stuff. So I just shook him down there for the safe bet of he's probably not going to play in a City shirt for the second half of the season. So, well, let's go on. João Pedro. Now, João Pedro would be, at the moment, an automatic S tier. He's a player who... we got on a free transfer, let's not forget. We got him signed him after the window shut. He's a fantastic player. He's grabbing goals for City. I think he's got something like 6 goals already for City. And he's on track to maybe go and do better than what Oscar Estupiñán did in his first season in a City shirt. Also on a free transfer. Oscar Estupiñán wasn't, João Pedro was. But I do think with maybe the addition of 1 or 2 more strikers, the weight will be lifted off Pedro's shoulders, and maybe we don't see him producing as much. So I may be inclined to going into the A tier, just on the pure fact that with whoever comes in to be his strike partner or on the bench or stuff, we could maybe see a bit less of João Pedro's involvement in goals. Charlie Hughes, I think once Charlie Hughes comes back from his current injury, there is no doubt in my mind that he will be one of the best players on the pitch week in, week out for Hull City. We've seen it so far in what he's been involved with Hull City, and I think that will just continue to improve and evolve as the season goes on, and as he can really get going under Ruben Sayers, with maybe if we do bring in another centre-half to go alongside him, or maybe if we do switch to a 3-back, I think that whatever happens, I think Charlie Hughes will rise to the occasion, and I think he's going to have a stellar second half of the season. Unfortunate that Mohamed Baloumi does go into the injured category. He was heavily impressive in his debut start to his Hull City time, but unfortunate that a season-long injury puts him on the sideline. Mason Burstow. He's a player a bit similar to João Pedro, where it depends mainly on who gets brought in to see what happens to him and his playing time at Hull City. He's currently at the moment, in the past few games, been the starting left winger, and of course produced that fantastic assist for Abu Kamara's first goal against Leeds United. I do think though that with maybe the interest mounting around a possible left winger getting signed for Hull City, I do think that he's not going to have as much game time as he has done in the past few games, but still quite a nice, decent level of involvement, and I think there is a very promising player there in Mason Burstow. Someone that I think with the right guidance under Ruben Sayers, we can get something out of. So I'm going to go into the B tier for him. Another one in Liam Miller, who is injured out for the remainder of the season. Unfortunate on that one, as he was another one that quickly became a fan favourite at the MKM Stadium. Chris Bedia. Now, Chris Bedia is someone that I'm going to put down into the C tier for a few reasons. I don't think that he will be at the club for the second half of the season. I think that his loan will get terminated. He wasn't involved in the squad for the Leeds game at all. He wasn't even on the bench. There was other players on the bench. Ruben Sayers is a bit hesitant to talk about Chris Bedia in interviews at the moment. So I do think that he will not be involved too much in Hull City, of course, because he probably won't be at the club. But also, I think similar to the fact of João Pedro, whoever strikers we do bring in will knock Chris Bedia down on the pecking order, and he's already limited down to now 10-minute appearances off the bench. Finley Burns. Now, Finley Burns is someone that it's very dependent on, does he stay at Hull City? I think at the moment, City are willing to keep him on. Depends on who comes into the squad, though. With the possibility of some links between players that do his job already, some players that do fill out that CDM role that can play as a centre-half and are there available. I could possibly see City maybe returning him back to Man City. But at the moment, as things stand, he seems a bit more probable to be at the club than a Chris Bedia. So I will slot him into that B tier, but just on the lower end, just because the future is very unpredictable around him. Steven Alzate. Now, Steven Alzate is someone that I've been heavily impressed. Another free transfer that has worked swimmingly for Hull City. Yeah, it took him a little bit of time to get going just due to match fitness and a little injury problem. But he's been fantastic so far, and I'm probably going to pop him just at the top of the A tier, just above of João Pedro, as I think he's going to have a continued positive influence on the City squad. I think that no matter who gets brought in, I think that he will still be involved in the matchday squad week in, week out, as a player that you can really rely on. Similarly in aspects, Gustavo Puerta. Now, Gustavo Puerta, I'm just going to pop up into the S tier as well. Now, Hull City would just need to work this deal into a permanent. I believe that if he plays so many more games in the second half of the season, there is that Hull City have to purchase him, which, I mean, let him play all of the games. He's a fantastic player. He's produced fantastic things, certainly in the past few games for us under Ruben Sayers. And I've been heavily impressed with him in a City shirt. I thought that he's under Tim Voltry maybe went a little bit under the radar. Was certainly when he had his moments, But I think under Ruben Sayers, he's really getting going and really firing high on all cylinders. And so I can't see him coming down from that. And Hull City will be willing to put him into all of the games possible to trigger that obligation to buy. So up in the S tier he goes. Now, we've got a few goalkeepers here. Carl Rushworth. Now, Carl Rushworth, it is reported that he will be staying at Hull City on his loan deal. There was a few rumours saying that he may go back to Brighton after recovering from his injury. Apparently, he's still at the club, and I suspect he will be involved in the starting lineup for the upcoming game against Doncaster Rovers in the FA Cup on Sunday. I do think, though, his game time will be limited because Ivor Pandey is the starting goalkeeper and he hasn't really put a foot wrong. He's made a few errors, yep, all keepers do, but the saves that he's produced this season and what he's produced in between the sticks has been absolutely fantastic. So I do think Carl Rushworth's involvement in the squad will be limited, but I do think that he will produce quite nicely. So I'll just put him above Finley Burns there in the B tier, just because of his game time will be quite limited. Anthony Rashioppi, I'm going to put him down in C tier, similarly to Chris Bedia. Wasn't involved in the matchday squad on Saturday against Leeds United, and there is heavily rumoured suspicions going around that he is going to be shipped out by Hull City and sent out somewhere, either on loan or a permanent. I presume it'll be a permanent. But a loan would make sense as well, considering that at the end of the season we will be without Carl Rushworth. Another one here that's injured and probably won't get game time just because of the goalkeeper pecking order is Harvey Cartwright. He is injured. He's had surgery at the start of the season. I think that he's slowly coming back from it. I've not had a word that he's back in training or anything, but I do think that he will have limited involvement certainly in the senior team. Whether he does maybe go out on loan somewhere, as we know that Harvey Cartwright has done, or whether he goes and plays a few games in the under-21s. We'll wait and see on that front. Abu Kamara. Now, Abu Kamara, of course, because of his involvements in Sasse's affair, could instantly go up into the S tier. I do, however, have a little bit of doubt on whether that form can continue. Of course, it probably won't. He probably won't get 2 goals every game for the rest of the season. I hope he proves me wrong. I do. I mean, that'll be absolutely outstanding. It'll be something that you've never seen before. Although I do think he will be heavily involved in the City squad. It's another one where maybe he could have a little bit of reduced game time due to some of the signings coming in, and therefore I'll put him into the A tier. Although I do think that he will have a nice key involvement in the City squad moving forwards, especially after proving his haters wrong and really helping Hull City thrive in that Leeds United game. Sean McLaughlin. Now, Sean McLaughlin is someone that it's a little bit hard to say about what he will do for the second half of the season. Of course, he's guaranteed some game time coming up as Charlie Hughes is on the sideline. I apologise. Charlie Hughes. But when Hughes is back, he will be the third choice centre-back, and that's not even saying about the possible additions that Hull City are looking at in centre-half. Of course, whether we do go to a 3-back would mean that Sean McLaughlin would probably be the first choice off the bench, or maybe in odd appearances in the starting 11. But I do think due to that, his reduced game time, I am going to put him into the B tier, just below a Mason Burstow. Although I do hope that Sean McLaughlin proves me wrong there and has a really, really strong second half of the season. Now, Harry Vaughan, He's back. He's back in the senior squad. But for how long is the question? Of course, some new arrivals could put him further down in the pecking order. He could go back into the 21s. He maybe could even go out on loan. We're really unsure on what the future holds for Harry Vaughan. As things stand at the moment, he's going to go into the B tier just beneath Sean McLaughlin, I think. I hope that we get the best out of Harry Vaughan. I hope that he comes on and grabs a few goals, produces a few assists, and has some brilliant moments. But I just can't see that happening due to his game time with what everything's happening moving forwards, especially just re-breaking onto the scene under Ruben Sayers after having a brilliant start to the season in the under-21s. I do feel that maybe a loan out for him would possibly happen, and then if he does stay at the club, would his game time be that much more than what it is now? I highly doubt it. So into the B tier he goes. Now, Louis Kyle, it's a tough one to say on Louis Kyle, as if things go right in this transfer window, Hull City will have 2-3 options at left back is what they're looking for. So then the right back situation is between him and Cody Drammer. I do think that it depends on how you play the lineup, whether Louis Kyle is your starting right back. He has had a few negative moments recently, but then that is still your captain in there, and he's probably one of the first names down on the team sheet due to that. So I will put him up in the top area of the B tier, just judging on the fact of whether him or Cody Drammer gets the starting right back role moving forwards. I will cover Cody Drammer in a little bit. Ryan Giles, someone who, of course, has his game time under question as well, with Hull City looking to sign a left back. If they do, it'll put a bit of competition on him, and maybe he will rise to the challenge, and we will see that peak Middlesbrough form Ryan Giles that we really signed him for from Luton, producing all the assists. I do think under Ruben Sayers, Ryan Giles is a far better player than what we saw under Tim Volta. I think he's gaining his confidence back. He's gaining himself that level of a player back. And he's someone that I want to see in that City starting lineup week in, week out. Especially under the Ruben Sayers format. And I think whoever he has ahead of him really shines into his game. I do think his game time is a little bit questioned with the brilliant performance of Matty Jacob over this festive period. So I will put him up there with Louis Cole, maybe just below Louis Cole, as there is maybe another left back coming into the club. So there will be 3 choices to pick from. Ivo Panda, now he's gone up into the S tier for me. He's had a fantastic start to his time at Hull City. Of course, signed last January, but been fantastic this season when he's been actually playing. You can't really say too much wrong on Evo Panda. Yeah, he's had a few mistakes, but who hasn't? He's been there fantastic week in, week out. One of the most consistent players in that City squad. So there he is up in the S tier. Actually, you know what? I'll put him at the top of the S tier. Xavier Simons. Now, Xavier Simons, his game time is a little bit under question as well, with maybe the appearance of one or two central defensive midfielders. And his game time at the moment is pretty limited, with Steven Alzate being really the starting man in that squad alongside Regan Slater. So will Xavier Simons get the game time he needs? Will he be sent out on loan? We don't really know at this point. I do think that he will stay in the City setup. I do think he'll be there as that bench option, the fresh legs to come off the bench. And if he does so, I can't see him doing too much wrong. So he'll go into the B tier, probably just below Mason Burstow there. Abdushamer. Now, Abdushamer wasn't involved in the City squad for Leeds game due to waking up with an illness, although all signs do point to Omer leaving the club. I will put him at the top of the C tier, just on the pure factor that if he does stay at the club, I do think that he will contribute in some capacity, and I do think that he probably will get that game time in his traditional number 10 role, which we know he so desperately needs, because that is the role that he is here for. He's not the best out on the wing. He is far better as that number 10. But if he does leave the club, I can't rate him too high. Otherwise, I'm going to be wrong, aren't I? I'm trying to do a serious prediction here. Serious predictions. Alfie Jones. Now, Alfie Jones I'll put up in the A tier there. Very simply, he will be a starting centre-back no matter who gets brought in. I think he is that real. You can tie him between first or second choice, depending on him and Charlie Hughes on the day. So, yeah, solid centre-half. He's going there into the A tier. Ryan Longman, currently injured, and we are a bit unsure whether he is going out on loan. Signs don't point to it at the moment, as Ruben Sayers sort of said that he isn't going out to Hearts or going out permanently anywhere, really looking to focus on his recovery from his injury. But I will put him just above Harry Vaughan there in the B tier, just because he is a little bit speculated on whether he's going to leave the club, is he not, and obviously he's going to miss probably the next month due to injury, or certainly the next couple of weeks. Talking about injury, Dukan Sinic. Now, I'm not going to put Dukan. It'd be very easy to put Dukan Sinic into this injured category. He is a player that is just riddled with injuries. He's unfortunate on that front. But I do think that he will overcome them, and he will get some game time this season. I think that maybe once he overcomes this recent bout of injury, I do think they maybe could even stay fit for the rest of the season. I mean, that might be deluded thinking, but with possibly a bit of a reduced form, and maybe being able to select when he's been played more usefully, as with some of the January arrivals, he probably will have a bit of a better fitness run. So I will put him up into the C. I'm gonna go top of the C tier just because there is that level of, we don't know what is going to happen with Sinic so far yet, of course, because of all of the injuries. Now Cody Drama, I'm going to put at the bottom of the the bottom of the A tier, top of the B tier, very similar to Louis Coyle, although Cody Drama has been working his socks off this season, especially playing left back out of position for quite a stretch of time. So we'll put him at the top of the B tier. Very, very hard to differentiate between Cody Drama and Louis Coyle at the moment. I think maybe Drama is the better choice at the right back. Louis Coyle is the captain, and also he has proved it a little bit this season. I think that Louis Coyle, he's had some moments where he's not looked the best, but he has had some moments where he's looked quite good. So a bit hard to predict on that front. Case Palmer, currently injured, but I think that once he overcomes this injury, he will be a standout player once again for us. And I predicted it when Ruben Sayers came in. I went, Case Palmer is going to be a fantastic player under Ruben Sayers. So there we go, into the A tier. Andy Smith, I don't think he's going to get a lick into this squad at all. I'm going to put him above them two, as they're probably going to be leaving. Actually, I'll put him I'll put him above. I'll put him below Omer just because we don't know on Omer. But Andy Smith, I presume that he'll be going out on loan once he recovers from this injury, because the new centre half is possibly coming in, and it's a bit hard to say where Andy Smith's next game time is going to come from. He is back fit from his injury, I believe now, and he probably will get involved in the FA Cup squad on Sunday. So we'll wait and see on the evaluation from there. Regan Slater. Now, will Regan Slater score in the second half of the season? I mean, that's a bit more unpredictable. But Regan Slater, he is going to be involved in the City squad no matter what. He is the 50 grand man, and he is going to go to the top of the B tier. If he'll go there. There we go. Now, Timothy Lotutala, similar to Harvey Cartwright, he's not going to get a lick into the squad. He's just recovered from his injury. I believe he's now sort of just loosely getting back into training everything. So he's not really going to get too much of a look in. And Matty Jacobs, well, Matty Jacobs is he's had a fantastic festive period for the Tigers. He I believe he was on the festive team of the festive period for the Sky Bet Championship, as he has one of like the highest average scores on what scored or something like that across the championship at left back. He was fantastic in his appearances. I thought he was especially fantastic in the Leeds game. Whether he does continue to get the game time, we will wait and see. Obviously, Ryan Giles is there waiting in the wing, and maybe they do split their game time 50-50 in the second half of the season. Or who knows, with the maybe new left-back coming in that there is rumoured to be. Who knows whether Matty Jacob does go out on loan or stuff like that. So I will put him into the B tier. I'll pop him just above Ryan Giles, as Matty Jacob is currently the starting left-back, feeding off from the Leeds game. So there we are. That is my Hull City players ranked based on how well I think they're going to do for the club in the second half of the season. I may be completely wrong on some of these. I may be completely right on some of them. And obviously, we will have some more January arrivals. We'll have some January departures. This list is probably going to be meaningless in in about a month or so. But I'll possibly do another list then. So if you do want to stay tuned for all of the Hull City news and content, make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, as I do keep it up with daily Hull City videos on all of the news, tier lists now, vlogs, predictions, everything you need to know around Hull City. So why would you not stay around on the channel? Go and check me out over on Twitter, or X, whatever it's called nowadays, to get a breaking news live up to date on everything Hull City. I'm also live, not live, I'm a bit active, we'll say, over on the TikTok now. So go and check me out over on TikTok, HullCityFanCentral over there as well. So I'll see you in the next video. Up the Tigers.